Hi, Scott Pearce here with GardenWorks. All the time I get asked about pruning hydrangeas. It's not summer yet, but the daisy's starting to come up, and so I thought I would address this with you. Basically, there's more than one kind of hydrangea, so there can be more than one kind of pruning. What we're talking about right now is pruning of the classic, the mop head hydrangea. There's the finished blooms on it from last year, and that's the kind of hydrangea that blooms on the new growth that's come from one-year-old wood. So the trick is, if you were to prune a hydrangea right back to the ground, you wouldn't get any flowers, and that's where most people get a little uncomfortable. So I'm going to show you how you do prune it. And so the trick would be, you don't want to prune it right down to the ground, you want to prune it back to where new growth will come out that will bloom for this year. And you want to follow the standard conventions of pruning, which are to remove dead, disease, or damaged branches. So we call that the 3 Ds. Makes it easy to remember. So first thing to do is to remove any of the dead branches. In the end, this bigger plant will end up being reduced in size and will also be more open in the center. So if we remove dead branches really quickly, we're just snipping them away. There's one big old one in here, and if I remove that, that'll do two things. Some of it's dead, and also this branch is congesting the middle of the plant, so it'll open it up so that there's better air and light circulation to the middle of the plant. So I prune that out. It's already, see how it opens it up quite a bit. And this is dead material here, so that can go. And let's see, there's more material that's sort of dead on here, and there's also some crossing. This is an older branch that I think I can remove fairly safely. It's a fairly thick one, and I'm going to take it out as well. And right down here where the other branch comes out from it. So that's sort of the major cleanup we'll do. Now it's just a matter of reducing. So I prune that branch out, and then what you're trying to do is prune back to where there's either another branch coming out that hasn't bloomed yet, or off of this woody stem, a big swollen bud. So there's a big swollen bud here, so I'll prune back to that. And on this middle one, there's a big swollen bud there. Prune back to that. I always talk about pruning, making your pruning cut on a bit of an angle. It's more important the larger the stem you're cutting is. On a small stem, it won't matter much. On a bigger diameter stem, it'll matter more if it's flat. Water can sit on top of that, and then you can end up with disease getting into it. So we can prune back here, a little bit of an angle. You see I've already opened it up. Now these are great here, if you can see these ones. This will show you. Here's where it bloomed. So anywhere I prune back on here, a branch or a bud that comes out, that'll develop and end up with blooms this coming summer. So there's a big swollen one there, but I think I want to go back a little further so that I do reduce the size or the overall height of the plant. And I'm going to go back to this bud right here and snip it off. So that's brought it back. And then on this one, it's the same thing. I'm going to cut this back to where there's a couple swollen buds already. And then this one I have to decide what to do with. And I think the best thing to do for it would be to bring it back and remove it all together so that I don't have too long, gangly branch on it, so it'll come back to there. Some of these other ones that I haven't touched yet, same idea. This is a branch that had a bloom on it at the beginning of, or last summer, and it's finished now. It's a big long branch, so there's no real swollen buds on this one yet. But that's okay. We'll bring it back to about there. This just needs to be cleaned up. That needs to be cleaned up. And then this branch here, that I'm the only one I have left that I haven't dealt with yet, I want to bring that back to one of the swollen buds too. And I think I want my plant to be reasonably compact. I'm going to bring it right back to where it's only about 18 inches from the soil level, and prune that right there. That's pretty good. So the most important thing you're going to do is make sure that you prune back to either a swollen bud or a branch that's coming off of one of the main stems. Prune back to that. Don't cut it back all the way to the ground on these mop head hydrangeas. and you should be in good shape. Remove the oldest wood, keep it open, and any dead or damaged material. Pretty straightforward. Listen, one other comment I want to make. There are new mop-head hydrangeas out there, new varieties like the Endless Summer series of hydrangeas, and their whole claim to fame is that they bloom on totally new growth, and if you wanted to, you could cut them right back to the ground. That's great in a place like Minnesota, where their winters are so hard that the plant gets knocked back to the ground anyway, and they would never get blooms on it. So that means in a cold climate, an Endless Summer type hydrangea will bloom, even if it's killed right back to the ground. Our climate, it's no different. If you prune it right back to the ground every year, it'll still bloom for you. So they're a different choice, but a lot of us have these hydrangeas that we do need to prune the way I've shown today, and this approach is a perfect one. Thanks very much. Happy gardening.